Friends, I'd like to share with you a few words and a powerful story. I'd like to dedicate this to my friend Sidney Koppola, Alav Shalom, Shlomo Moshe ben Rafal Tzvi, whose first yahrzeit, first anniversary of his passing is today, 1 year. May he ask for him and his family and for all of us for revealed and good things. Amen. This Shabbat is Parshas Emor. Emor means to speak, but it doesn't say daber, but it says Emor, which means in a nice way. Emor means to speak softly, to speak sweetly, properly. Daber means to speak harshly. This is a tremendous lesson for all of us, especially with what's going on with Corona. And I think a lot of us can learn from this, as our friend, the mayor of New York City, with the events this past week, which we'll find out in a moment. Here's an amazing story that happened about 200 years ago with the Baal Shem Tov. He was with his students in the Baal Shem Tov synagogue, and one friend said to his fellow, in fighting, he was having a tremendous, heated argument. He said, I will tear you apart like a fish. Like a fish. And the Baal Shem Tov heard this, and in response, he asked his disciples to come next to him. And two of his students, he asked them and all of them to close their eyes, and for his two students to hold hands, and he put his hands on their shoulders, the Baal Shem Tov, and they could see the other person tearing, as if he's tearing his body apart in pieces, and they were screaming in fright, in terror. They could see his friend who said, I will tear you like a fish. They could see him tearing apart his body. So here we see the tremendous effect and power and how harmful a negative word has, not just in a physical, but also in a spiritual way as well. We have to be very careful. We saw this week, unfortunately, the mayor of New York use certain words which on Twitter, which had tremendous, unfortunately, harm. One has to be tremendously careful in his words, and especially with technology, we have to be extremely careful. Just to end with another short story. This happened with Lubavitcher Rebbe, the private audience with a family and the daughter asked the Lubavitcher Rebbe. She says, is the atomic energy, is it a good thing or is it a bad thing? The clever girl. And the Rebbe responded to her, says, tell me, the knife in your mother's kitchen, is it a good or is it bad? And the girl cleverly responded, it depends. If she uses it to cut vegetables, it's a good thing. If it's used to, God forbid, do harm, it's bad. And the Rebbe says, yes. That is very true. The same is true with atomic energy. If it's used, it can be used in a harmful way, God forbid. It can be used in a good way. And the same with this technology, we see can be tremendously helpful. Look at Zoom. How many Torah meetings happened because of Zoom and because of technology. So may God help that we should use out technology, as in Zoom, in a good way for business, for Torah. And in a short while, when this is all over, may God help that we should be able to turn to each other and to all and say, thank God that we used technology for the right things, for Torah. There's never been, perhaps since the second Beis HaMikdash, second temple, as many Torah studies and classes learned since these past few weeks with Zoom and the Torah, thousands of classes. May God help that we should be able to turn to each other and say we have used that in the right way, technology, etc., and even for business in the proper direction, and not, hopefully, say that we've seen 40 or 50 movies on Netflix. May God help that God should bless us with revealed good in all of our lives. Amen. Kain Hi Ratzain. Thank you.